allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This session of the Lincoln County Commission on January the 6th, 2011, at 6 p.m. is now called to order. Members present: Donald C. Whitten, Clerk; Charles McCann, President; Charles Vance, Commissioner; Thomas Ramey, Jr., Commissioner. First thing on the agenda, I need a motion to approve the minutes of the regular session of the Lincoln County Commission meeting that was held on December the 16th, 2010 at 10 a.m.
So moved.
Second.
Been motion second, that'd be an all yes vote, motion carries.
Next thing on the agenda, we need to appoint a president for the Lincoln County Commission for the calendar year 2011.
I will nominate Commissioner McCann.
Hearing no second from the floor, I'll second that motion. Call for a vote. McCann, yes. Vance?
Abstain.
Abstain?
Yes.
Ramey?
Yes.
Declare the motion carried.
Next thing on the agenda, I need a motion to set the meetings for the Lincoln County Commission meeting, and is it you all's pleasure that we keep them the same as last year? It'll be on the first Thursday of each month at 6 p.m. and the third Thursday of each month at 10 a.m.
I move it.
Second.
Motion second, all yes, motion carries.
Need to set the hours of the Lincoln County Courthouse as Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, being all yes, motion carries.
Need to set the holidays for the Lincoln County Courthouse for 2011, to set the holidays for the Lincoln County Courthouse employees for the calendar year 2011 as follows. Martin Luther King Day, January 17, 2011. President's Day, February the 21st, 2011. Memorial Day, May the 30th, 2011. West Virginia Day, June the 20th, 2011. Independence Day, July the 4th, 2011. Labor Day, September the 5th, 2011. Columbus Day, October the 10th, 2011. Veterans Day, November the 11th, 2011. Thanksgiving, November the 24th and 25th of 2011. Christmas Day, December the 26th, 2011. And any days given by the governor as declared state holidays.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, being all yes vote, motion carries.
Next thing on the agenda is discussion of concern, Dorothy Woodall, concerning the survey line for the property.
Dorothy had planned on being here, and I talked with her by phone. Dorothy lives back at the property across the street that we own. We had it surveyed, and basically the issue comes up with a triangle section of property, as I discussed with her, that from the survey team that did our survey versus the surveyor that did her survey some years back, there seems to be some difference there. And basically what I told her I would do this evening would be to bring this to the commission and let that be part of the record, and assure her that we would contact our surveyors and see if they could review the survey done by Mr. Reynolds and see what the discrepancy might be and explain that to both parties. So she seemed to be satisfied with it.
Also under discussion and concern, it's kind of a deal that Jim Boggs had called wanting on the agenda. He did call on time to be placed on the agenda. I'd already sent the agenda out, so at this time I'll let Jim Boggs speak.
Thank you much. Good evening.
You're still important to us, Jim. We
Good, good.
We still get to it quickly.
Oh, good, good. I appreciate it. You. And just brought a drawdown for y'all tonight. And this is on the Upper Little Harts Creek project. And this is drawdown request number 11, and it's amount of $36,157.28. Included as part of this drawdown request are 2 invoices from Region 2 Planning and Development Council for Small Cities Grant Administration Services for October and November of 2010, totaling $2,277.28, and 1 invoice from Welding Incorporated in the amount of $92,150. The difference between the amount that we're actually requesting for Welding Inc., which is $33,880, and the amount of their invoice is $58,270, and the Logan County PSD is requesting that balance of that as part of their infrastructure funds on the project. What that effectively does for our budget is that effectively closes out the construction line item for now. We don't have any money left in there as what we originally proposed. I will be back next month, though. We do have some monies left over in the legal and accounting line items. It's about $11,808 or something like that. And I spoke with Rick Roberts this morning, and we'll do an adjusting budget amendment on that next month, and we'll put that $808 over into the construction line item, and that'll effectively zero out all the funds left in the project except for the grant administration line item. But just to give you a quick update, line contractor's approximately 80% complete. I believe on the change order work on Francis Creek, they're about 85% complete on that. We should see a jump in that. There was a lot of time in December where they couldn't work, where it was too cold, and when it gets that cold, they can't do backfill or anything like that because of all the moisture in the dirt. So there was a couple weeks there where they may have one operator out or something like that doing some cleanup work and things like that. So we did miss a little bit of production in that regard. Tank contractor is approximately 85% complete. I think they are about 50% complete on the actually on the piping and stuff like that, and probably be closer to 100% next month. And then that only thing that they'll have left on that is the painting. And of course, that's sort of dependent upon the weather. We have to have a certain amount of temperature for the paint to take on those things. So it may actually be spring before they can actually paint the outside of that. But that, I don't think that's going to hold up as far as filling it up with water and starting to serve customers or anything. So right now we're looking at a substantial completion date for all the contracts is March of this year. And of course, again, as weather permits, everything's progressing well. But with that, I'll submit this drawdown request for your all's consideration.
Do we have a motion to approve that drawdown request as suggested at the beginning? Motion is second. Being all yes, motion carries.
And I did want to ask the commission while I'm here, Small Cities deadline for this year is March 22nd, and was just wanting to see if you all wanted to try to resubmit your application from last year, or if you had a different project.
We actually voted in the meeting before Christmas to resubmit the other big parts.
Okay. I may very well then, since you only have to do one public hearing with that, we can do that concurrent with the actual county commission meeting. I may try to get that application ready and have it done next month at one of the 2 meetings next month, and that way your application will be in early for them to review.
Yeah, we thought that lots of projects, but that one needs, since it's already been submitted, it's resubmitted.
Okay, and what I'll do on that is I'll check with Rick and see if he'll review those cost estimates and see if we've had any increase on that from last year. Usually he puts a sizable contingency in there with the anticipation that it may be 2 or 3 years before it actually gets funded. So I don't think it's going to change the budget on that any, so that shouldn't be any problem getting that submitted.
Well, we appreciate anything you can do, of course.
Commissioner McKenna, will okay. On here I've got this for you to sign, just in your capacity as the chairman of the Region 2 Planning and Development Council.
I think you ought to get a lot for Christmas. Bring us all this money through this water. I'm sure these people that have water now wouldn't disagree with you.
Yeah, I was talking to a fellow yesterday over in Wayne County. I told him where I live over in Kentucky, I still don't have water. I said I've been doing the job for 14 years and we still don't have it, so. All right. All right, listen, sure do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much and Happy New Year.
Next thing on the agenda is old business. It's a hearing on the petition for a subdivision as submitted by Kevin Gillespie. Kevin, would you like to come forward, please? Commissioners, Kevin has applied for a subdivision for the area near Priestley Ridge off of Pine Grove.
Yes.
He has filled out all the papers. In your file there, you'll have that his perk test. And we also have a letter from Lincoln PSD concerning the water. It says that there is, at Priestley Ridge and Deer Run, where they come together.
Yes.
And Mike Middleton. There is a copy of the tax map here with all the adjacent property owners. Here's his survey. Now, and the right-of-way to the property is called Hickory Lane, is that correct?
Yes.
And it will come in between the first two parcels and circle around behind the others?
Yes, there's actually two roads.
Okay, and when I talked to your wife, I told her that we would have to make sure, maintain those roads.
Well, what I had in mind is gravel them the first time and let them take care of them, the property owners take care of them from there on.
Are you gonna have like association, will they have association?
Really hadn't planned on me personally taking care of it. If that's what they want to do, they can. There's not going to be a whole lot of houses on each road. You know, one road's going to have well, and that all depends on what the health department says about the sewers. I had originally 8 lots, and they've approved 3 of them, and I'm pretty sure that we'll at least get 4 more. But I think one's in question whether we're going to be able to sell it at all. So there's going to be 3 houses at least on one road, and then 3 on the other.
And if I remember, these are what, 2-acre lots? Or
2 to 2.5. I think the one lot in question is almost 3 acres. If it needs to be bigger to get the sewer to pass, I'm willing to do whatever. I've already moved property lines and on that particular lot to make it bigger. And then after they looked at it again, it's still not big enough, and it made the lot next to it too small, so I think I want to move it back and move another one to make it work. But I haven't talked to them. They said that weather's not been good enough for them to go back down there and look it over again.
You talk about how big that for your sewage system and all that, or I mean,
Yes.
like a peak system or something?
Well, they gotta have a reserve area, 10,000 foot reserve area. There's enough room for a sewer system, a big size sewer system. They want extra in case something happens to that sewer system, and that's the problem.
When you say they, who are you talking about?
The health department.
So the water, we think we can provide the water.
Right now, we have the water at that juncture. I think the big question would be if it's a subdivision, who's going to put the lines in the subdivision? I mean, I really don't know. I haven't looked at the plan.
Well, I mean, your obligation is to provide it to the road only, unless they would contract or something and do different. And I guess I have a problem too, or concern, not really a problem, but I just think that anytime we're going to develop a subdivision, we should have something, we've got to take care of the water and sewer, but I think the road is just as important, because it's going to be one of those things that, you know, the lots are sold and gone, and you may be gone, and people still will be there, and it's, we are a county and are concerned about how the people getting in and out of there. And I guess the concern I'd have is, I know it certainly either decrease your profit or increase the value of the land, but it seemed to me like it should be paved roads in there on a certain solid gravel. If we're gonna put a subdivision in, it should be done proper. That's just a thought.
Could he, Ross, could he, deed that as, owner's household, maintain the road?
He could, but,
Like an annually fee or something like that?
but if you go more than, 2 or 3 houses, it has to be a subdivision, and then I think I get concerned that if we're looking at the value of property for Lincoln County, then we should make it as good as it possibly could be.
My problem with doing much to the roads at all, when I'm a contractor, I move mobile homes, and I've been around, when other contractors come in, they don't care about the road. So they're gonna drive into the mud, and then they're gonna drag it back out on the road, they're gonna bring concrete trucks in, you put blacktop down, it's not gonna make it, it's gonna be junk before all the lots are sold.
Unless the proviso would say, once the houses are built, and then you come back and pay.
Well, I have another question. Could he, y'all tell me to shut up.
Well, it's a public hearing, right ahead.
Could he not put it in as, in his deeds that the homeowners would take care of it up to a point that it fills up, and then a committee go to look at the.
Well, yeah, it could be. I mean, lots of angles, and for him to think about, I don't know where his first subdivision he's done, maybe he's done others, but he may not have, but I just think for the county's sake, we need to talk about these and make sure that we know what we're getting into.
When I don't know if this matters, but when I bought the property, I had no intentions of doing any of this. And then I've been in the court system here 8 years. I had a deed search done, and it was tied up, and it's just a big mess. I got an eviction notice from one of the other property, one of the people that actually owned part of it, and I thought I owned it all. I lived down there. I moved away, moved back to Boone County, and now I'm just wanting rid of the property.
Yeah, I got you.
And I had no intentions of doing a subdivision, but when the first person that actually bought lot number 2 applied for a permit, Francis said we had to do this.
Well, and we have instructed him that anytime that's going to happen, we want it done proper, because you learn sometimes by your mistakes, and we have made our share of them, and one in particular in the Priestley Ridge area, where roads has been really an issue.
Well, the roads are built, but there's no drain pipes because I didn't want to put any drains in and then have to go through there with a water line and tear them out. I didn't put any gravel down because I know, like the first lot, they're getting ready to doze the road to lower it to make their house look nicer, to get it where their house won't be so high. So, I don't have a problem with gravel on the roads to the end one time, but to have contractor come in there don't care, or a concrete truck come in there and get in the mud, and then have a wrecker come in there and tear the road off, and you could say they'd have to fix it, but then you'd be right back in the court system trying to get them to pay for it.
Well, and I think that's why we need to talk about all these things before you want to sell land and get rid of the problem, but we don't want to create other problems.
As far as paving, I've done a little bit of it just helping my uncle. It probably costs close to $50,000 to pave both them roads, and that's not going to be a little bit reasonable for me.
Because you've already sold what? You said
I've sold one, and I've held off putting them up for sale until this is taken care of.
Well, I just raised that as an issue. I don't know what the commission thinks. I just when I read this and looked at it, I know where it is. I thought, well, roads is going to be an issue there. It's the way the property is laid and things like that. You got to have some kind of decent road in there, but that's up to the buyer, I guess. But if we declare it a subdivision, then it needs to meet some standard that we think will be adored. We don't have in Lincoln County building codes and things like that, but we do have authority to declare subdivisions. And water, sewer, and some type of acceptable road is three of the main things we're concerned about. Any other discussions from anyone in the audience with other commissioners? You want to answer as soon as possible, right?
I'd just like to sell
I
it,
know.
get rid of it.
I'd like to
I
help.
had to make $1,000 a month payment on that the whole time it was sitting over here on Judge Hoke's desk, so I'm ready to get rid of it. It's been a thorn.
Well, I think what we would, I would suggest the commission, we draw up a subdivision agreement and we spell out where those things are and have it on the next agenda meeting 2 weeks from now, 10 o'clock, to see what we can do. And so we get that put together, we'll send it to you to look at so we can see if we can agree upon that.
Okay, and that's gonna be on the road?
The road, including specifying there will be sewer approved by the health department, those things.
Okay. Lot 2, 4, and 6 is already approved, and I'm pretty sure the rest of them but 8 is gonna be no problem.
And the issue of public water has to be addressed, that somewhere that public water will be accessed from Lincoln PSD, and it'll be the responsibility of the landowners to get that water to them or to you.
Well, 3 of the lots, the water line runs the edge of it.
Road.
There's a fire hydrant on one of the lots. But, what I guess I need to do is talk to him about,
You need to have something of how that's going to get water to them, otherwise we can't approve it.
well, I guess I need to talk to you about that, though.
Easements is the biggest thing. If you're gonna put a subdivision in there, you need to make sure you have utility easements through there.
Well,
Those folks-
there's 20-foot right-of-way
Is it utility right away?
on the roads.
Is
That,
it utility right
I
away?
don't know, I don't,
Even side of a road, you have to have a separate easement for the utilities.
Okay, so I didn't know that.
But that needs to be stated so that the property owners know that this is in that land when they buy it. It's good mostly, but it could be that they come in there someday and have to dig it up. And then the easement needs to be in place to protect.
And save you headaches down the road, because if you sell a piece of property and don't have an easement for utility, they can come back on you and say, hey, you sold me a piece of property, I don't have an easement, you want it.
well, right now, all of it belongs to me, so it's not gonna be a problem. That's something I just need to put into the deed.
And we need to put that into this agreement
Okay.
if this is your responsibility to make this happen.
Is that something the surveyor has to do?
Well, I would think you'd need to be surveyed where it's gonna be at.
Okay. I mean, it'll be on the road.
Yeah, but that needs to be stated, but
Okay.
somebody that, other than just you, I think, somebody would know where to place it and
Should be in the deed as well, shouldn't it?
what has to be, I think, in the deed, there'll be, when the deed's drawn up, when you subdivide it, you'll have to specify anything that's there, whether it be water line or road, right away, you say that's on drawing 20 feet.
Mike could probably draw you up as, you know, what you're gonna need there, and you could use that when you respond to what we're talking about. and stuff,
Okay.
so.
We're glad to see you trying to get, you know, housing for, space for people to build, but this needs to be as quality as we can make.
Did you have some information that you wanted to turn on?
Just some stuff that you all asked for. This is the application. She said some of the stuff she sent you, she was sending by me too. This is the description of the lots. And this is the Jason, which you said you already had, and that's the only one, that, we didn't really know, that's the only one we know of.
Because that's on the mountain.
I don't know if she owns it or her son owns it, he's the one that lives right close to it.
I think just about every one of them was right, because I went to the tax map, and the same ones that you all gave me was the ones that I
Okay.
picked up.
We'll get to it quickly.
All right,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
Next thing on the agenda is written it down.
Welcome, Rick. I ain't gonna tell you what Don said.
Oh.
I was thinking I heard this commercial about this guy trying to, wearing tap shoes, got to sneak out of a meeting because the meeting was, kind of dragging on and stuff. And I thought it
You mean trying to sneak out or dragging a
was.
meeting
You
on?
could hear him trying to sneak out. He was happy. He goes, "Where you going?" He says, "Nowhere." He taps back to the computer there.
Well, I want to give you a couple updates. One, there's nothing about this as a piece of paper, but remember we got this DEC grant to do the heating and cooling system here at the courthouse. It was through Casto in Charleston, and they were supposed to start November 8th. Okay? Supposedly, and be finished by the end of January. Supposedly, they're going to bring in tomorrow the first round of all the stuff that they're going to need to do. But they
I
haven't
was getting a
been,
little concerned.
they haven't been very prompt.
When you're the
So-
only bidder, I guess that don't,
Well, they didn't know they were going to be the only bidder.
they
So
know we have nowhere to
hopefully,
go.
Judy and I have talked about if they don't show up, we might talk to Region 2 and say,
Rebid or something.
maybe rebid on it. The first thing you've got is just an update. We had our health summit a couple months ago, and we asked the people who came to go back to their groups and see if they could come up with a project that they'd adopt. These are the organizations as of yesterday morning who had replied to the email. We went ahead and sent this out to everybody who come, and my hope is some more people, in fact, 4-H just sent us some stuff about the Master Gardener program today. Not 4-H, WVU Extension, sorry. So I'm anticipating that more organizations, as they see that something's happening, will get on the bandwagon for that. So we've got that going on. A couple things coming up with wastewater. The final installation funded through the ARRA stimulus money. That's the current 20 systems that we've got money for is going in as we speak. They were hoping to be finished today so that they could have the inspection soon from the district sanitarium. Craig and I, on the 4th, sent in a revised bid to DEP for phase 3. We met with them in December, sort of talked through some of their concerns. So hopefully they're going to respond and say we can start the bidding process. We don't know. January the 18th, one of the things we are still trying to do is make some of these so they're not direct discharge, so they go back into the soil. We've got a guy from American Manufacturing. This is a technology group that's in Virginia. He's going to come out here on the 18th, and we're going to go out to 2 sites and see if there's a possibility of doing a drip system in those 2 sites. So we also talked to him about the fact that if we did put in a drip system, we'd really like him to be there when we do it. We'd like to do some training for sanitarians and other installers. He seems real interested in that, so hopefully we can develop a good collaboration with these folks as we have with Boards and Owners.
Now, the drip system, that's similar to putting Beecher Atkins in, or is that a different?
It actually, we did a drip system that failed,
I know.
was put in at Beecher's, and that was the first system we put in. And I was greener than I am now with that. And one of the reasons I think it failed was because our friends who put it in, Ashco, put it in a place that had once been a driveway. And so there was a lot of rock embedded down in the soil. Well, you want good soil. The system works because it's in the topsoil, so it disperses. Well, all these rocks were in there, and so the drip emitters kept banging in against rocks and things wouldn't drip properly. So I think that's the reason Beecher's failed, because it was put in the wrong place, and we let them convince us that that was the place to put it, and it was not.
We thought they knew more than we did.
We did. We did. So we'll see. Hopefully these guys will be very helpful. You've got a map of the watershed there. We're gonna have, as we move on to this next project, there are gonna be 11 sites where we do tributary sampling. This is where we take samples out of the creek, not samples out of the systems. Most of them, of course, are where we have most of the systems. I think it's important that we've got, as you suggested, Doc, if you, sampling site number 52 is up Owl Creek. That's an area where nobody's living and where there's no agricultural stuff with animals going on. So that's sort of a test thing there. We've also got a site at Camp Lakeview, which is sort of the end of where everything is flowing. And if you look on the page that's stapled to it, you'll see the results since '08 through, we did a couple when we sampled in December, and those are those 11 sites. What I'm hoping that we'll see, if you look down at the bottom, if you go 2 up from the bottom, number 55 and number 9, number 55 is as you turn off of Bolger Road up to Left Fork Road. There's 3 houses there that have an aerator system that was put in maybe 5-10 years ago. That's hasn't been taken care of and it's failing. We're going to put new systems in for each of those 3 houses. So we took a sample there in December. It was 50,000, which is pretty high when we want it to be 200. And my hope is that we're going to be able to demonstrate, especially at that site, as we take care of those houses by putting these systems in, take care of that system. On Dogbone, this is at the mouth of Dogbone. Every time we've sampled at Dogbone, it's been over the acceptable limit, but we're going to add a number of new homes up Dogbone with systems, so we may find some improvement there as we go forward. So we'll be looking at those 11 sites as we go through. The next paper you've got there is on.
One thing on this.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at that site, we was talking about 52 that's above the human contaminants, and you look at some of these other sites now are near what they are if there wasn't anybody there.
Yeah.
You know, so that's great.
It is pretty interesting. It's improving. Yeah. And there are, I mean, the other thing that's happened, because you're getting stuff out of the creeks, you know, an animal might have been in the creek 2 seconds before I got there, and so I think what we really need to look at is the trending that's happening.
Well, you know, if you figure you got an inherent base there of the native animals putting in that much coliform, and then you can subtract that from what is coming out of the house, and you can say, well, these numbers are really a lot lower than that, because when you have the natural, you know, as far as contamination from humans,
Sure.
it would be a lot lower than these numbers.
So we've got that, then there's a page that shows you the direct discharge sampling results. That's when we take it out of the, right at the end of the UV light. The most recent sampling is the December 12th, which is the far left-hand column. And you'll notice that every one of them is under 10. So I was real happy with those results. I think they just show that these systems are working. And if they're working, that means what's going into the creek is going to be good. So those are pretty good. The big concern, if you look over that whole thing, is the second from the bottom, which is an EPA installation, which is the Quanix system, which is a different technology than the Board-Nimona Puriflow system. We've got some problems with that system that we're trying to figure out, but one of the engineers from Quanix is talking about coming back to the watershed to go out there and look at it. So hopefully I'll be able to bring in some good news about that. The next page is the most recent rough draft budget for Phase 3. What's different about it from the other one is that they've decided, when we did Phase 2, originally they said no contingency. So we had the people who were bidding put all their what they thought might be contingency stuff into their bids. This time they're saying, we can actually have a 5% contingency, so people won't put it in their bids. So I'm hoping that the bids will be lower because of that. And the other thing is that they've added, at one point they were talking about doing 2 rounds of bidding. When we talked to them the last time, they said, well, they'd rather have us do 1 round of bidding. And so what they suggested was that we bid out all the direct discharge systems. These 2 systems we're talking about that might be in ground, we're gonna include those as a future change order. Sort of like when we added the 20th system, we went back to them and requested to change the original document to add that 20th system. We do the same kind of thing, and we're budgeting in a cost to do those 2 systems.
So you won't have to rebid.
So we won't have to rebid it. So we've got that taken care of. Our friends at Ashco. Remember, I think it was the last time I met with you, I had submitted a letter to the Attorney General on the advice of some people at state government, rebutting the kind of stuff that he had said about us, you know, blah, 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 blah. Anyhow, he sent another letter, the Attorney General, I'm assuming, sent my letter to him. He sent another letter wagging his finger at me to the Attorney General, but saying that they were willing to do some stuff, okay? They were willing to, you know, let us purchase the peak. So when I got this from the Attorney General, I emailed him the same day and said, okay, tell us how much it's gonna cost for the peak. I finally got an answer at, I don't know, almost 4 o'clock this afternoon. And they said that it would cost $1,229.20 to get the peak down to this, which isn't as much as I thought it was gonna be. And so the issue becomes, do we do this or do we not do this? One of the things that we had done earlier when we were arguing with these guys was we put this system on this 3rd round. So it's part of what we're gonna do, take bids on, which would put a totally new system in. The one thing that we haven't yet argued with Ashco about, which I think is important, is the UV light that they put in here. All the other UV lights that are in the project are NSF 40 approved, which means they went through all this testing, and they also have a 2-year warranty. The UV light in Kevin's system is one that Ashco sort of created themselves. It doesn't have a warranty, and it's not NSF 40 approved. But way back when we started all this arguing back and forth, we were talking about the peak system. We weren't arguing about the UV light. So my worry is that even if we took care of the peak, we still have this UV light that's hanging over us that I'm not sure is working properly. So even though, and Craig and I have talked about this, even though we hate to let Ashco off the hook, because I don't think they've been good players with us, I don't know that it makes any sense to
Well, is
go.
this a system that has the gravel, a lot of gravel in it too?
It has, at the bottom, instead of having a peat module for each bedroom, it's got one great big peat module. And the peat module has gravel at the bottom of it, and then it's got coconut husk, and then it's got peat. So we'd have to get all that stuff out of this big peat module.
We know anybody we want to punish?
Well, we were thinking of getting a pumping truck that would suck it out, rather than sending, we weren't gonna ask the nonviolent offenders to take it out.
You know, I just think it's past the point of trying to fight with Ashco too. I mean, if you bring up the UV now, they are gonna say, look, here he goes again.
Exactly.
You didn't listen the first time.
That's right.
Well, but we know better now, it's just like
We do.
everything,
We
we
do.
know, we should have those lamps the way they should be. They should be having warnings on them and things like that. And And I think since we were gonna go ahead, the person was gonna go ahead and get the system with this new.
With this new one. I
With this
mean,
new, and
yeah.
it's probably gonna be a more efficient system, what we wind up with, even if we put this other stuff in.
According to the results that, so far, I mean, it looks like you're not going with the new system.
But I do think we did the right thing as far as, not agreeing with everything they had to say about what went on. Because
Well, maybe I'll write to the Attorney General and carbon it to ASHTO and say, we appreciate the fact that ASHTO finally responded, but we just think at this point it doesn't make sense to go any farther.
Well, and they should have done 100%. So if they want to come in and take out the old system, put in a new system, showing that they have good quality products, then they'll be all right.
They weren't wanting to do that.
And they know that we probably won't want to agree to it, probably.
I think in their hearts they probably did. I'm surprised they responded. I thought they just sort of blow us off. And the last thing is just the jobs report that gets us through December. The project's created 4 jobs. Of those 4, 3 of them are people in Lincoln County, so that's a positive thing. And there's $121,000 that people got paid. So.
Yeah. Well, as far as I'm concerned, the whole project's been worth all the effort that you put into it.
All the hassles with ASHTO.
Since you put the effort in.
All right, thank you.
No, I really think overall that this is gonna make a big difference. The data you've got right now, you could start really drawing up some really good papers on that.
Well, and the one thing that DEP does not ask for, like the EPA asked for, is all these quarterly reports, but we did tell them that once we were finished with this ARRA, we would give them a report that takes care of it. And Craig was gonna talk about these new systems, and he pulled together handouts for you.
Well, great.
What I have for you here is a map. There's actually 3 maps here. It represents about 74 of the homes of the 89 that we'll have in the finished phase 3. As you can see on the first map, there is represented by the triangle 6 EPA projects that we have. The current ARRA project is represented by the rectangles that are spread about there, and the circles are the proposed project for phase 3. We've also put some of the tributary sampling that we're doing, and on the second map that's Flat Creek there. There's 26 homes on this map. Again, 15 of them are the EPA, and 7 are ARRA. The circle is the proposed project that we're going to do as well. The third map shows Bulger, Barcamp, and Clark Lane. We have 13 EPA homes represented on that map. 3 are the current ARRA project, and 9 are proposed. We wanted to kind of give you an idea of where we were, where the houses were, and where the sampling sites were.
Do we also have information as far as how many houses are there that we're not working with? I mean, what percentage?
We can sort of figure that out.
Because that'll be one of the things I think when you put your data together, we want to know, what we started with and what we finished up with and things like that.
It's when we work with 911, with Chris and 911 to pull the stuff up from their system. And sometimes when you look at their aerial stuff, they have things marked as houses that aren't really houses.
Oh, yeah.
They're barns and things. So what we're gonna need to do is go through and for sure say, no, this is not a house, this is a shed, or this is an abandoned house or something like that.
Yeah, because you really need to know how many of them were inhabited and things like that.
Are these dark dots?
Those are actually the places that Rick were talking about. They've marked all of them. Some of them, again, are barns. Some of them are inhabitants. Some of them aren't. That's why we went through and kind of designated which ones were in the project, which ones will be proposed.
So there's a lot of houses yet to get in the future.
There are.
Yeah, but we could also show we're making a positive impact on these sampling areas, even though those other houses are there.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you, Craig. Rick, you mentioned earlier about that the youth came,
Yes,
whatever, it may not be the right name.
21.
Did you do sampling there, did you?
We've actually done more sampling there than we've done through the projects we've done, because we've got to sample there periodically during the summer, because we've got people swimming there.
What about our system we have in there for the house?
I think one of the things that's happening at the youth camp is it's at the end of all this, and it's part of the lake. And so I think both the E. coli gets sort of spread out, and the sun kills a lot of it, because historically, if you look at that, on that page, none of the times we've sampled there during the project has it been over the acceptable limit. It's always been under 200 at the camp.
Right,
I'm not sure it's because.
we don't know what system we really have in there, just
We
a
have,
traditional.
I think we've, man, I'm not gonna say. It's written down someplace.
Whatever it is, it's working.
Yeah, it's working there. Of course, it's a newer system, and
Okay.
usually in a lake, you have more UV light getting into the water because there's not as much overhang over most of the water. And that's why you have less of those counts in there, whereas a stream, you have the cover, which allows the, keeps the UV from penetrating.
You don't have the farm animals either.
Right, that's true.
Okay, next thing on the agenda, need a motion to approve the bills as submitted for payment.
I move.
Second.
The motion and second, again, all yes vote, motion carries.
I need a motion for the exoneration orders as submitted by Tracy Dempsey, assessor.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second, again, all yes, motion carries.
I need a motion to set as board of review and equalization for Lincoln County as follows: February the 1st, 4th, 9th, 11th, 14th, 15th, from 9 to 4:30. February the 22nd, 2011, from 9 to 4:30 is Natural Resources Day, and they're all by appointment only.
I move.
Second.
Motion and second, all yes, motion carries.
Okay, April, do you want to talk to them about the lease agreement? It's not ready, it hasn't been approved by the prosecutor.
We have asked for a lease agreement to move our office from the current location to the building that Stowers and Sons owns behind the Stowers and Sons building to co-locate with the Farm Service Agency. That location is much larger than the location we're in now. We are taking on new staff. You're reset this month, as a matter of fact, for that. So we're in need of more space, and to co-locate with Farm Service Agency in that space makes sense. It's a very nice building, and will certainly meet the needs that we have at this time. In the process of going through that, there have been some questions about lease agreements, and what it's boiled down to is we talked about the university paying 75% of the rent for that space, and the commission paying 25% of the rent for that space. And I've got an agreement from the university to actually provide the funds for the 75%. And in the process of that, since they're putting in the 75%, they wanted to do a lease, have the commission do a lease with Stowers and Sons for the space, and then sublease to the university. And everybody would pay the portions that they have agreed to or have committed to at this point. And so they put together a couple of leases to see if they would be acceptable to the commission, and I provided those to Ms. Johnson last week, and I believe she has since taken those to Mr. Stevens to see about the legalities in the leases. That's not my my forte, but of course the lease between Stowers and Sons and the commission would have to be finalized, and then a copy I would take to the university, and they would attach that as an attachment to their lease agreement at that point, and then go ahead and go forward with approving their part of that.
And we agree in spirit of the amount for 75-25. We've had discussions earlier about that, just be a matter of whether the wording of the lease meets the letter of the law.
When I gave them to Jackie, he looked over and he said, yeah, it looks just like a legal lease, but he wanted to sit down and look at it and go, but he said it looks, everything looks pretty
You
good.
know, we want to, maybe just to kind of help us, is that if they would decide not to do it, I mean, in the lease itself, we had basically said it wasn't used for that, we wouldn't have to pay for it with me or something of that nature, you know what I'm
Some kind
saying?
of out clause.
Yeah, some kind of an out clause, just in
And I
case
think
you would
there
go
is.
somewhere else.
I think there is an out clause in there, isn't there?
I believe so. I don't have a copy of it actually here with me, but I could look at it to see if there is. But I believe at the beginning there was no option for sublease, and the university just really needed that in there, so they asked that that be placed in, and I think Mr. Stowers is agreeable to that. So long as it's just us and no one else, I think that's put in there that way. But I do believe there is, should we move out, that it would not be able to be leased to anyone else, and that the commission, I really have to look at it to see.
Well, I would just say, you know, on our end, because, you know, this is taxpayers' money, and if we don't want to lease a place, we don't have nobody there.
Right, if there's no one in the space.
But I'm sure they will, I mean, we'll figure it out how to do that, to where we can just, if you're not gonna be able to come, or if WVU can't come up with a 75% for whatever reason, you know, we can back out of it ourselves, so we don't have to wind up coming with 100% of something, you're not being there and things like that.
Right.
you
I know they have the 5 years down the road part of the agreement. I looked at that for sure and made sure we had that. But I would have to look at it again just to make sure that's in there.
Okay, with this discussion, I think what I'll ask is that we table this issue to the next meeting, and we can answer these 2 or 3 questions. But with the idea that we will do it, but let's get it all in order first. So do we have a motion to table the issue?
No motion.
Second.
Motion and second to table the issue. We'll be back on the 20th, hopefully with everything in order to approve.
Is this a yearly amount, we're talking 2131?
This is a quarter, or this last,
That amount actually is the is the money that will be needed to pay rent for the remainder of this fiscal year up to June 30th. And then at the time we do our memorandums of agreement, then the full amount will be included in the budget at that point.
and that's
So
is
we're-
estimated at what amount was that?
You mean in addition?
$3,500.
$3,500 in addition. It's a little less than the actual 25%, but I will come up with the other additional, I think it's 380 some.
Yeah, I think 3,500 is what we.
We'd
said
agreed
we
to
would-
35, and so that's, I'll make sure that it's been, in the extra will come out. But the total rent on the space annually for the first 5 years is $15,345, which breaks down monthly to $1,278.75. But that $2131.25 is just the portion of the remainder of this fiscal year for 2010, 2011 to carry us through June 30th, starting with the rent on February 1st, which the university has informed me that they would need to pay in arrears, so they wouldn't make their first payment of their portion until the 1st of March.
So if the total rent's 15,000 or whatever, then our part wouldn't be over like 4,000 or something like that.
3,500 is our max.
There's 25% annually for the commission under the current number of $15,345. The 25% for you guys would be $3,836.25.
So the 35 is all I ever agreed to.
Right, and the additional $336.25 will be made up in funds that already will be included in what we already are receiving. Or we'll agree to
When
possibly.
we have our meeting next
Right.
week, or whenever that is, we'll have to make sure that's worked out on that agreement.
I'm working up the 2011, 2012 MOA budgets currently, and we'll have those ready shortly.
Okay, next thing on the agenda is I need a motion to approve the appointments, Danny Vacation, Lincoln County Commission, but Donald Pickens Clerk as follows. Willard Barnett as Executive of the Estate of Poor, Alice Spurlock Miller, Violet Talkton as Executors of the Estate of Maxine Taylor, Pauline May Hodge as Executive of the Estate of Carl Hodge, Rebecca Becky Dean as Executive of the Estate of James Jr. Dingus, Donnell T. Vance as Administrator of the Estate of Darrell Vance, Christopher A. Kirk as Administrator in the estate of Teresa Ann Messer. Robert Martin II as Administrator of the estate of Robert Martin. Anna Jean Black as Executrix of the estate of Veller Stowers. Hal Watts as Administrator of the estate of Marlene Toppington.
So moved. Second. Motion and second. That'd be an all yes vote. Motion carries.
I need we're gonna, this next issue, that we have a petition here from Harvey Payton, who is representing Mabel Loftus Woodrum on the estate of Hassel A. Woodrum. They are petitioning the county commission for elective shares in this estate. And we have an answer from Ron Selmans and Jeff Bowman, who are representing the heirs of the estate. We can do two things here. We can hold a hearing, let them voice their opinions, argue it out to the commission make their decision. We can appoint a fiduciary commissioner, let them have a hearing. Let them give us their decision, and then we can still go back and have a hearing. So it'd be up to the commissions and what they would want to do. I think they all agree that it could be an elective share of 18% of the augmented estate. Now that estate is just what was in his name alone. There are bank accounts and things that is not non-probatable. That is, some of the heirs' name were on those assets. So it's a deal of, what are they going to argue that is the augmented estate?
I'd just see the commissioner, fiduciary commissioner, because I don't really know, because it's going to be a lot of legal things we're looking at. So,
Yeah, I read through this thing there today, and
And by the time it would get back to us, if it would be necessary, we would have that work to look at and help us make a decision.
so do I hear a motion to refer to fiduciary commissioner?
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion second to refer this,
Want to do it to Joe
Petition.
Stevens?
pardon,
Joe Stevens?
if it's available, of Mabel Loftus Woodrum. Got a motion second, all yes, motion carries, and you'll notify parties.
I need a motion to approve a donation in the amount of $250 to the Hamlin Buddy League Dance Team.
I'll move.
Second.
Motion second, all yes, motion carries.
I need a motion to reopen the estate of Glenna V. Cartwright as requested by Kimberly R. Cartwright for the sole purpose to file an amended appraisement to add coal rights.
No.
Second.
Motion second, all yes, motion carries.
I need a motion to appoint Donna Miller to the Lincoln County Board of Health as a representative of Sheridan District.
Just a second on this. I talked with her a while ago, and I know that the health board wanted to appoint her to this, but she told me basically to tell the health board she appreciated their.
Yeah, they do ask for it.
I know, but she said due to all these kids she's taking care of, things right now, that she wouldn't be able to serve on that, so.
And we just really honoring her request.
Yeah, and she wanted to thank them and to thank us for helping in the past and things like that, but she said she just really didn't have the time to deal with
So
it.
I'll just remove that from the agenda.
And then posting, we will be taking applications.
Need a motion to reappoint Rebecca Ferguson to the Lincoln County Board of Health as a representative of Carroll District.
So moved.
Second?
Motion second, all yes, motion carries.
I need a motion to appoint Wayne P. Seimer to the Branch Lamicchia Public Service District, term being January the 1st, 2011 through December 31st, 2016.
This is the Harold Ray Smith position that he did not reapply for, not really, I think, maybe health reasons.
Is there a reason we decided to go with Wayne instead of?
Well, mostly because of recommendations of Mr. Abshar, who's back here, but I asked him about who he'd recommend, I believe.
We've been having a lot of issues from people in Branchville that they had the water company down Franklin, and now we've taken it all to Ranger. So we thought the best way to satisfy that is give them somebody from Branson.
He lives, what, 4 miles?
How many people applied, do we know?
We had two, we had him and David Webb.
I'll move to appoint Wayne Summer.
Got a motion to appoint Wayne Reed Summer,
I'll second.
and second. All yes, motion carries.
Need a motion to reappoint Kenny Pennington to the Pleasant View Board of Directors, term being January 1st, 2011 through December 31st, 2016.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, all yes, motion carries. And if you would, sorry, on Harold Ray, would you send him a letter thanking him for his service?
I think we ought to give him a plaque, because he's.
That's what we're planning on doing.
You want to give him a plaque? I think.
He's been there
it's
from the
so
get-go,
easy.
hadn't he?
Yeah, he submitted a resignation at our meeting today through the health department.
Yeah, I know he's been before hell.
I need a motion to approve an inter-office budget revision in the office of the commission as follows. Transfer $66,319 for contributions to audit in the amount of $39,440, insurance and bonds, the amount of $20,000, management fees, $250, other fees, $6,379, and dues, $250.
So moved.
I'll second.
It's all staying within the commission anyway.
All within the commission. And the reason the audit was so much is because we got the bill and it was 3 years, and we only budgeted for 1 year, and there's 3 years. And then in the bond, insurance and bonds, where Brick Street was a little bit more this time.
There's other fees, what do they entail? It's,
Management fees is for the direct deposit. Other fees is where there was an error of depositing in one line item in a different fiscal year. It was just in a wrong account, so we had, where it was 2 different fiscal
Already
years.
closed
So,
out.
yeah, it's already closed out. And then the dues, we were just over budgeted on the dues.
Been motion and second, being all yes vote, motion carries.
Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak at this time that was not on the agenda? Yes, ma'am?
Ms. Sharp.
I'd like to turn in the minutes of the meeting for the Board of Directors for the Community Center. I apologize, I couldn't get here last month, because it kind of snowed in a little bit.
She volunteered for this job.
Well, I could have had a worse one, I guess.
Well, you got the right, they got the right person for the job.
Thank you. If I don't get tangled up here. Since this is, was December the 10th, I'll just go over some highlights. The election of officers, Scott Polly is president, Leanne Brown is vice president, I'm secretary. Jennifer Forzetting is the treasurer, she's also the rental agent. Angie McCormick is the volunteer coordinator. Mr. McCann had asked that I be the go-between between the Board of Directors of the McCorkle Center and the Lincoln County Commission, which is what I'm doing here now. We asked Mr. McCann if we could have closed-door sessions for the first 3 months, January, February, March, so we can work on scheduling and the formation of the Board of Directors' activities. The first meeting open to the public will be April of this year. The Lincoln County Commissioners are always welcome to attend even these closed sessions. The board members at that time stated what they wanted to see accomplished. With several weeks to think about a position, all 5 members came up with the same ideas. Some of the ideas were Zumba, dance exercise classes, and they already have someone in line that wants to do that. Auctions, basketball games outside, movie night for families, carnivals, a book room for residents to come in and just read, kind of like a sitting room. There's also several people that were interested in renting out a room for business purposes. One such person does photography and wants to go in there. We're going to rent out the multi-purpose room for birthday parties and different things like that. We also asked Mr. McCann if we could put directional signs up for the community center, and he agreed. We're always open for suggestions from the general public. Now, I took care of the rental for the Allen Creek Lions Club building, and I took their rental agreement and revised it because with Jennifer, I think it was, one of the ladies already had somebody that wanted to rent it after Christmas. So I hurried up and made out this rental agreement, and of course now that's subject to be changed, you know, for whatever legal purpose we might have to change it to. Our next meeting is tomorrow night at 7:40, and, no, we adjourned at 7:40, our next meeting is tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. And, so after that, then I'll come back with the next, minutes of the meeting from tomorrow night.
Good job. Anybody got any questions?
I just think it's great that you have a board in place and you guys are willing to volunteer and give back to the community. And I just commend every one of you.
Well, it was really strange because all of us, we got over there that night, and Mr. McCann can tell you, we all come up with the same ideas to get the community involved. And I got an email from Scott about a week ago, and he's got one of the gentlemen, I think it's from Hearts or somewhere in that community center over there, that's going to come over and advise us of, you know, how we can make things work and everything. So we have a lot of things we want to do. That's why we want to have closed meetings until April to get everything in line. We have to get keys made and a whole lot of just different stuff we have to do before we let the public come in and
Yeah, you gotta get organized, know what you're gonna do.
Right.
And I think one of the things that board has already looked at is the fact that to have a community center in place, just getting the word out that it's there is important.
Right.
And I know the board president sent me an email and asked about the possibility of us helping to pay for a community center website. And I told him to send us a letter and let us know what that would entail and the cost, but I think it would be important to let the public know.
We'll probably go over that tomorrow night, but the main thing I think all of us were in agreement with is we want to have the building open for the community, bring things into that building, and let that be basically a community center. That's what it's for. And we all have a lot of good ideas, but we just have to have time to work them out. And like I say, we already had people that wanted to rent the building, and already had people that wanted to rent rooms in there to, you know, to run a business with. So we'll just have to see how all that goes and what the legal aspects are. But it looks promising, you know, if we can get all of these things worked out.
Yeah, I thought all five of you that night had really the right ideas and good enthusiasm.
We all was thinking this on the same path, really. You know, every one of us come up with these things, and they already had some people in line to do some of these. So Scott wants to get some community volunteers to come in there and help with the building. And
There was a lady called wanting to know about Boy Scouts having their meetings there. I'll get her name and number to you.
Okay.
You all could call her and maybe set up something, but they were inquiring about the Boy Scouts having a meeting day there.
You don't remember her name?
No, I've got it in there on my desk.
And I'll talk to you about that after the meeting. But I know the Lions Club was involved in that, and the Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts both. You know, we'll see how that goes. But I'll be back after tomorrow night and give you the next update.
Is there anyone else?
I'd just like to make a comment on the fellow that was talking about the subdivision. I don't know what the rules and regulations of the state are, but I know in some states, when you do a subdivision or you put in a road, it becomes state property once it's paved, and the state has to maintain it. Now, I don't know whether it's that way in this state or not.
It's
They
not.
may or may not.
No, it's not. The state has basically got the position right now, and they have had for the last some time, no more roads to be put on any system. So we've tried to get the Priestley Ridge Road. As a matter of fact, we met with a year ago, people from the governor's office trying to get that road put on. They wouldn't budge on it. Wouldn't take it.
There was actually some alarming statistics that I read today where the new Congress has decided to make some cuts in federal transportation spending, which will result in about 20% cuts for the state road here in West Virginia.
I think about that issue that came up, I don't know, it was like a year or so ago, because we come to all these meetings, that somebody was complaining on one of those roads, I don't know, out there by the dam or something, that was so dusty that they couldn't do anything outside, and they tried to get somebody to bring some oil down there and put on it. And that's not a thing you want to do these days.
That one issue, yeah, the Pridemores up there, we finally got them to what they call tar and gravel pitch thing on it, just not really paving, but they did finally do that to quiet down their dust. I don't know if that's the one or not. It's the only one we've been able to
It's
get
pretty
done.
good, actually.
Is-
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my understanding too, there may be a way they're using the walls, not using the walls, but like we had Sand Creek done, we had it tar and gravel, the same, we were talking about over at fellows up on Mud River there. And there may be a way in the law that once they do that, then you can progress to blacktop. Whereas you can't, they can't just start blacktopping new areas and things like that. But there may be, I know when I looked into it with the Sand Creek project and with Mr. Pridemore, there was a thing there that says if these roads are done that way, and then they could go ahead and go to that level with blacktop, whereas I guess the way the law is now, they can't put any new roads in unless they're in particular development areas, and they have to be looked at from a different angle than what they would everywhere else. So, but it was my understanding as things have changed that those things may be able to be progressively made better.
Yeah, I think they looked at main roads like Sand Creek or whatever, not subdivision, because the subdivision on Priestley Ridge, that, I'm trying to think the name of it, I can't. But anyway, it's got 12 houses. I mean, it's already paid. They still won't take it into the system to maintain it because
It's added on the system, whereas on
Yeah.
the two places I'm talking about, it's already on
Yeah.
the system.
Yeah,
So.
it makes a difference.
Anyone else?
I have a discrepancy paper here from the Tri-State Pipeline on a 37 project, and we just want to let you all know what's going on, and we hope we've got this resolved, so we can move on with the 10-mile project.
And I wanted to ask why you were here.
Yeah.
About 10 miles. Do you have a feel where we're at as far as
We
close
talked,
to when
we
we're
talked
gonna be ready?
today on it, and I asked them what they thought would be the bid time, and he's thinking, it's getting ready to go into the Public Service Commission probably the end of this month.
So that's the final hurdle to get it.
And I think they have, what, 60 days?
60 days.
So then after that,
So by the time construction season gets here, we should be ready to bid it probably.
I'm saying
March.
June, July,
Yeah.
So these easements have been taken care of?
80%.
That's really like they start.
Yeah, they're still working on getting the rest of it.
And you got the issue worked out, I assume then with the water tower, didn't you have to change sites or something on that, but you
They came down.
got that, didn't, okay, you agreed?
But we just want, y'all only have one, because didn't have time to get more, but we wanted to let you all know about this, and hopefully we got to.
Well, I think the people really appreciate it.
We'll just
Once we get it taken care of, we'll quit aggravating you.
That'd be 4 mile or something, 9 mile or
Yeah.
something.
We've got a list.
Yeah.
Okay, is there anyone else? Move on to commission concerns.
The first time I asked you to just put down, we are trying, again, we've been so successful at the Hearts Community Center, one day a month, providing service from Sheriff's Office, as far as tax collection, Assessor's Office, Donald's Office, that they have decided to try to go one day a week. Each Wednesday, they'll be out at the Hearts Community Center, sending an office worker out there to see how that works. If it doesn't work, we'll try something different, but they've asked that. Already tried it, I guess, yesterday, but I don't know how it worked. But officially, that's what the game plan's going to be. And we've even looked, you know, as we go down the road, we tried Allen Creek once at the library, seeing if people would pay and want to use it, but wasn't successful. But as the community center grows at McCorkle and whatever, we may want to, you know, talk to you guys about seeing if there's a day there that we may want to try something, but we'll deal with that down the road. It's possible. The other item at this time of year, the commissioners will find, made an announcement last meeting that we will be adopting goals again, and I asked Judy to pull up the ones we had for this year, and they're in your packet to look at, and it's a 20th meeting, or whatever that date is, let's keep saying, yeah, 20. We'll adopt official goals. If anybody's got any suggestions, get those to us and once considered, but we will be looking at ones we've had and trying to look down the road what else we're going to do. But I'm sure this commission's number one goal still is to increase and expand water, public water across the county. We'll work on other issues too, but that's going to be one of the main ones, I'm sure.
We put Hatfield McCoy in this, I think it's,
I'm not sure.
I think we,
Speaking of Hatfield McCoy, we asked them, they may be at the next meeting, they're trying to work out to be here at the next meeting, to come and talk about where they're at, what's going on, and I talked to Mr. Burton today, and he seems to think that they may try to, they're trying to get everything worked out to be here at the next meeting to give an update.
I was in Charleston a couple of weeks ago and talking to some people about the expansion of the trails into Wayne County and how we possibly could get them together here. And the fellows over in Wayne County are trying to have a system where it would allow them to run the system except in hunting season, then they could go ahead and not have the system operational so people could hunt out of the area. And we're trying to get permission from those people over there, let them do it in that kind of way. And we might want to, one of the options we might want to look at is doing something that way. And I think that probably, most people around Harts anyway, I think they'd rather hunt over in hunting season. And so we may be able to, kill two birds with one stone if we get the system in there, get the big DNR to be over on the Big W, that part of the system, and then we can just go ahead and work from that angle. And they're looking at that real strongly, I think, as far as an option. I haven't talked with any people at Hatfield before, but I know that the legislature over in Wayne County and owners people are looking at that as an option. So it might be something we want to talk to these people about from now, so they thought that. Because we had talked about basically allowing hunting off the trail system itself, changing the bylaws of Hatfield and Corn to allow that too. So, and that may be something we look at too, but I think it gives us another option. The other thing I think we need to look at also how we might be able to utilize the increased traffic from the Wayne County system and systems, Nexstar systems, to maybe promote like float trips down the river from the largest down the Ranger and things like that. I think we need to.
I think, and one of the goals is to utilize the Guyan River and as well as the Little Cove, trying to get more, some type of recreation. I know I've seen that on the list, and we need to keep pushing it, because I think it's got a lot of
Craig
potential.
can give you something that he's working on.
Yeah, I spoke with Evelyn. We're seeking to get it classified as a scenic waterway. I think Larry did file a letter of intent, but there's a few more things that we need to do to get grant.
How about Guyan dot or?
Yeah, it would be from the R.D. Bailey Dam on down. So.
Because we have, Lincoln County itself, the area from around Beaver Pond in that area there down to Rangers, a really pristine area. There's no, you go down through there, and I know some of the guys over Cold River floated down through there. It's it's really, really a beautiful area of Lincoln County. So.
I do think to show the Hatfield and McCoy board that we're serious, if we could add that to the list of priorities, and maybe if at the next meeting when it's there for approval, it'd be great to have Hatfield and McCoy people in the audience.
And we are seeking a meeting. I've sent a letter to the governor, the appointed governor anyway, for the temporary position or whatever they're doing that now. But we do have a letter into Governor Tomlin asking that he have a meeting between the Lincoln County Commission and the Hatfield McCoy board or board chairman and director and DNR, so we can talk about the trail system for Lincoln County. And so we're hoping that meeting, once this dust settles and all these other issues, we'll get that meeting set. Because Art Kirkendall, who's chairman of the Hatfield McCoy, called me and said he definitely would take the responsibility of getting that meeting set up. So we're hoping to hear from that anytime.
I had a meeting Tuesday. Art Kirkendall was there, and I reminded him then that we're waiting for the meeting. So,
Why don't you go ahead into your committee reports?
Doc, can I ask about floating? You were talking about floating. We might want to put that, make that one of the health initiative kind of things. Do you think, is the river, I haven't floated that part of the river, but would it be advisable to actually float it in an inch or two where you get wet, or should we do it? Should we encourage people to be in a boat?
Yeah, well, I think that's something that needs to be looked at. You really want to be able to say you can float in an inch or two. You want it to be safe enough for that, and that's one of the reasons I was mentioning as far as going all the way up to the head of the river and things, because you're going to have an area above Logan, you'll have pretty good river or whatever, but the time you get down to us with everything's dumped in the river coming down, it makes it a lot more difficult, I think, but I do think there's areas there, you know, there's a put in at Hearts and there's a takeout at Ranger and things like that, they might have to be upgraded and things, but that area in there is just, you know, once you get down below, like I was talking about, you know, a few miles down in below the Aitonsville area, once the road goes away from the, Route 10 goes away from the river there, it's really it's just like a completely different area of the state. I mean, it looks more like a float on a greenbrier down through there than it does some of the things you see up toward Logan and things.
A lot of good bass fishing in that area too.
Yeah, there really is. The fishing's improving, so I think the quality of water, which is what you were getting at, I think that's improved tremendously than what it was a few years ago. So, but you know, there's ways, as you know, we can check and see.
Yeah, we sure could. We might want to do that. And then
but you know, there's
we could
industries.
sponsor that as one of those.
You know, the industries that are associated with that, including renting the boats or kayaks or whatever,
Yeah.
taking people's vehicles down to the pickup point and picking up the boat so they don't have to fool with it and things like that. And I think it would do really well in that area. So.
Okay. Next thing is committee reports.
I have, well, one committee to report on. We had a Corridor G EDA meeting, which is for Southern West Virginia's 119 counties, it's economic development area. And at the meeting, it was a breakfast social, so it wasn't really a strong agendaed meeting. It was more of a loose meeting for us to talk about the goals and objectives for the year. It's my first meeting having been appointed to the EDA, and luckily at the meeting was the, I guess, First Lady, Joanne Tomlin. I guess she would like to be called that. And the cornerstone of the Corridor G EDA is to talk about, with Southern West Virginia, you have a lot of strip mining, and you have a lot of post land that after the mining's finished, it's not really being used. So our goal is to find ways to utilize the property, and then after it's utilized, to benefit the people, not only that live in that area economically, but otherwise, and then find ways to show the rest of the state and the nation that post land use is usable. And at the meeting we talked about, I'm sure most of you know the West Virginia magazine that goes out across the state and the country. We talked about taking a full page ad out of the magazine, and each county that is represented by the Corridor G EDA, we would have a block of the page depicting that particular county in a positive fashion and try to promote the county. So at the next meeting, we'll be able to come back, and I'll be able to, with KK Matthews and Dwight Coburn, we're the three from Lincoln County, look at what they came up with for the county and give the approval or make it necessary changes. Probably the biggest thing that I see as being politically expedient for the commission to be a part of Corridor G EDA is what they call a speed reception. And the speed reception happens once a year, and it's going to happen at the beginning of February in Charleston. It's a time for the southern counties to come together, people that are interested in economic development, with the local delegates and senators and lawmakers from the southern counties. So we talked about that, and we're formalizing the day and the location so that we can come together with those lawmakers and promote. I'll be there promoting Lincoln County, but we'll have people from every commission and every office from the southern counties part of that meeting. The other report would be, and Gary McAllister's here, I was just appointed to the local EDA, and I haven't had a chance to be at the first meeting yet because it's next week. So one of the things I do know that we're going to work on is we're going to work on developing a plan to make Lincoln County a certified business location. And some research shows that really doesn't matter to businesses that are looking at coming into particular counties, but we thought that that would be an added benefit for Lincoln County if we could become one of the many certified business locations. And then at the meeting next week, I'll be able to learn a lot more about the goals and objectives for Lincoln County's EDA.
Thank you. Well, I don't have much on the committee. I just need to ask you if you could talk about, we got requested by the EMS about what responsibility does the commission have, or is having a medical examiner And I asked Judy if she could dig in and find some information, and thought maybe you should share that with us.
Well, all medical examiners are appointed by the state, and they are paid by the state. And one reason that the EMS was more concerned was because Lincoln County does not have one exactly appointed here in Lincoln County, and they have to wait for this person to come, and it ties up their ambulances and everything. But the county, and I sent out and was talking to other counties, and the county commission can appoint a coroner, and we would be responsible for their bonding and their, everything that they do. But we could not appoint a medical examiner.
Is a coroner a doctor? Or is that
A coroner has to be a certified doctor. It has to be someone that goes to training. There is certification that they have to go through once a year.
Okay. They just sent me an email with me to, and my email back was, I don't have any knowledge about it, I'll see what we can
I
do.
know when Dr. McClellan was going to give it up, I talked with him about that particular thing, and I guess we haven't had anybody since he gave it up.
Apparently not. I
Wasn't
just.
Sammy Coons at one time the coroner? For some reason,
Well, he
when I
probably-
talked to somebody, they said Sammy Coons was a county coroner. And that had been a few years ago. I know when this issue, I don't know if you were on the, I don't know if you were here either, but we had this come about. And they said Sam Coons was a county coroner at that time, but he was not practicing. And they've been relying on the medical examiner. And we've had a few deaths here in the county. And it's just tying up all of the EMS where we have to go and sit and wait on that medical.
Yeah, because really what the coroner's job is to do is to take care of the deaths that are unattended, that there's no suspicion of foul play and things of that nature, whereas your medical examiner would have to be, if there was any suspicion of foul play, then the police or whatever would be sending the body.
It's like the one up at 9 Mile,
Right.
they had to wait for the medical examiner on that.
Right, and that's the kind of thing, you know the cause of death, you know, it was very obvious what happened there, and if they'd had the coroner, they could have just went ahead and pronounced them, because I know I pronounce people that we don't have coroners pronounce them, and I have to go with what the EMS people tell me and things like that, so.
Well, we find out any more, we'll share the information. The only other committee thing is the Route 10 group, they are moving forward, doing the survey and getting the work done to start on the Tony Curve project, the last information we had, and the project at Route 10 and Route 3 at West Hamlin, they plan to get onto that, but the project over on Route 10 on the highway is going to be the last project, trying to put in the long passing lane, or whatever you want to call it, so that's the latest we have on that.
I just wanted to mention one thing. I'm starting to see there's increased incidence of type A flu in eastern Kentucky now, and I've seen 2 cases this week. So it's really bad in that area down there. So I suspicion we're going to kind of get it here pretty soon. So like it's time for everybody to start washing their hands again, and telling all the little kids to wash their hands and things of that nature, because we did have 2 confirmed cases Tuesday. I had 2 confirmed cases Tuesday. So. And this is the type A, which could be the resurgence of the H1N1. We don't know yet. I'm still working on trying to find out what that is. But, you know, I just in the back of everybody's minds, just don't let this thing creep up on us. You know, it's all get washing our hands and covering our face and things of that nature. That's what I have.
Anything else, Minnie?
I do have one committee report. I did have a meeting with the Public Defender's Office and representing the Lincoln County Commission. And we still don't have an attorney that's representing Lincoln County. The Bar Association of Lincoln County does not have an appointment. But they have, their budget was really good this year. They saved a lot of counties money in the attorney fees, and it was a good reporting year.
I finally met the public defender. Okay. Entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting at approximately 7:30 until January the 20th.
So,
10 a.m. Motion is your second. Stand adjourned.